It's another fall week, which means it's another week to dominate the NFL. And we've been doing just that, going an insane 17-7 on our locks in the last 3 weeks. Stay tuned and welcome to NFL Week 8 Best Bets. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of the Degen Docs here on the DFSG Plus channel. What is up, folks? NFL Week 8 is here, and it is time to make some money. Exactly what we've been doing with y'all for the whole season, and especially the past 3 weeks. We've been on absolute fire. We're looking to continue that. What is up, folks? I am one of your hosts here, the Degen Doc, but more importantly, I'm joined by my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Derek Bennett, a.k.a. Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother?
What's up, Doc? As my old pal Bugs Bunny would say.
Yeah, you and a shit ton of junior enlisted in the military will say that too. But hey, man, week 8 is here. We are fully in fall. We are freaking balls deep with college football, NFL, and look, folks, if this is your first time joining us, first of all, cheers to you. Welcome. Thanks for checking out a couple of idiots talk ball here. But look, we have a fun show planned for you, just a little show structure, a little agenda, so you know what you're getting into here. We're going to kick off the show. We'll talk a little bit of banter very briefly, but we're getting right into our props of the week. We're each going to give out 3 of our favorite props, and especially with props, you want to get them early. If you agree with us, we recommend you bet them now because those numbers will likely go the wrong direction. Then we were going to give out our best bets, what we like to call around here our prescription, Doc's prescription. Bets we feel so good about that we're prescribing them to you. And again, 17-7 in the last 3 weeks combined. Then we'll get into a nice Degen parlay, a little bit to dream. We did hit a 30-1 last week. And then, of course, we'll finish it out with a Thursday night football preview between the Minnesota Vikings heading out to the West Coast to take on the LA Chargers. So we've got a jam-packed show. And as we go into our little bit of banter up top, look, man, it was a tough week for our teams. I'll let you start it off with the Steelers, the what was it? What are they calling it? Not the Bengay Bowl, the Icy Hot Bowl between.
Yeah.
I will just say I will watch Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers sling it until they're 100 if they're going to do that. But how was it with the Steelers? I know you've had more time to deal with your loss. Where are you at with the Steelers in that Thursday night game?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily as disappointed as you, since I did pick the Bengals to cover. I did not pick them to win, but I did pick them to cover that game. It just seems like the Steelers and in general, I don't know if it's a Tomlin thing, a coaching staff thing, but the Steelers just mail it in on Thursday nights. Like, they absolutely suck.
You were all over that.
Football. And I mean, I had a little bit of hope because the defense had been looking like the top paid defense in the league over the past 2 or 3 weeks. That was not the case on Thursday night. I mean, Joe Flacco throwing for 340 yards and, getting absolutely toasted time and time again by Jamar Chase, who does that a lot in general. But to your point, Aaron Rodgers can still throw the fuck out of the ball.
Dude, that Hail Mary?
That was a 70-yard ball.
And that was sweet.
41.
Chance.
Yeah. I mean, that was air-mailed 70 yards.
Right.
Air yard, 70 yards. There aren't too many quarterbacks in the NFL that are in their 20s and 30s that can do that. You can probably count on one hand the amount of guys that can do that at this point in the NFL. And it was super impressive. But it did fall incomplete. So, definitely disappointed. On the other hand, like you said, your Giants, man, that was the worst beat in history.
Dude, before we get to that fucking shit show that we're going to get to in a second here, I will say, yes, from a betting angle, we kind of crushed it on Thursday. You had the Bengals with the points. I had the over. You were 6-2. I was 3-2 on what we gave out. It was a good good betting day.
Betting wise,
But
yeah,
yeah,
I'm
for
glad
a
I
fun,
glad I hedged my Steelers there.
yes, your emotional hedge came through for the fan. For my wife, who's a Steelers fan, was not a fun Thursday rolling it up
Yeah.
Friday. Yes, we are about to get to the Giants. I want to end there, and when I say end, just take another minute or so. But can we talk about? Can we stop these London games? These
Yes,
international games
yes,
that like
yeah,
half the people watch. You like get up, and I can't even imagine being on the
yeah,
West Coast. Like, who's
right.
gonna wake up at 6 a.m. to watch that shit?
Yeah,
They've been
and most of
awful,
the time they are shit. Like the
right?
past two Thursday night, the past two London games have been absolutely probably bottom three games of this entire season. Like
Right?
they aren't fun to watch. It
No,
has to be hell for them to go over and play. We know that.
right.
Like I get that you're trying to spread the game and these all these things, but
Bring the
there's
games
there's
back
there's
home,
a
guys.
there's a risk and reward thing with that, and I don't know if it's worth the risk at this point for the reward that you get.
Yeah, man, bring the games back home. Sunday from whether it's noon or one, whatever you're at, or from that
Yeah.
point on, football is I'm totally in. But we
Yep.
got church, we got the lawn to do. Like, I don't need to be worried about like checking things, coming home from church or worrying about the lawn when, especially
Right.
with this shit ass product that's going to be
Yeah.
out there. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's talk about it really quick. Yes, the worst loss ever, as the New York Post says. And it felt like that as a Giants fan. We are one in two teams in NFL history, and for the first time in 1,602 games, a team that lost with 18-point lead with just 6 minutes left.
Yep.
Holy shit. The craziest part about this, because I'm not going to go on a rant because I want to get to our plays and get into NFL Week 9 and put this fucking dog shit game behind me. The craziest thing is like they came back and it looked like,
Yeah.
we're gonna lose. They came
Yeah.
back, they scored that touchdown, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Deontay Banks, please, please, please never touch the field again. Paulson Adebo, you should have been out there with one leg. But
Sure.
Jackson Dart, with a little bit of a favorable call, he scored the touchdown. Like
Yeah.
he made it be
He
like,
did. Yeah, that offense still looks pretty solid.
dude, I mean, it
That
was like,
defense.
oh my gosh, we blew this game. And then it's
Yeah.
like, holy shit, he
We're
he
back
took
in it.
everything that happened and he still went and won the game,
Yeah.
except we don't have a kicker who freaking was a backup at Rutgers and is through this stupid international program.
Yeah.
That's a joke. The Giants are an absolute joke. So it tells me, one, macro take, optimistic about Dart, Scadaboo, some of the young guys, defensive line.
100%.
Micro take, this regime has to go. They're terrible. But look, you
Yep.
didn't come on here to just watch me bitch about the Giants. So we're going to move forward and we're going to get into these props. We're going to get into our bets here. A little bit of a recap. Like we said, 17-7 combined in our locks. The past 3 weeks, we've been on absolute fire. Derek 2-2 on the
Up over here.
locks. 2-1 on his props, 6-2 on Thursday night. For myself, 1-2 on the props. Unfortunately, Jaden Daniels went down. Quinshon Judkins somehow had 3 touchdowns, but did not hit his prop. He missed it by a yard.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
3-1
Was
on
there
the
2 weeks
locks
ago.
there.
That sucks.
Yeah, but I will say, one reason to follow on X. I also gave this out on a Sunday morning show over on Sports Gaming Podcast. Do a little work for them. 30-1, Judkins and Jonathan Taylor, 2 touchdowns, parlayed 30-1. So hopefully, if you were on
Yep.
Twitter, you got that play. And another reason to kind of follow us, some of those last minute ones. I do have another sneaky backup to make sure I don't leave the YouTube audience out to dry. But NFL week number 8. I think I said 9. I apologize.
Yeah,
Getting
week
confused with
eight, week
college
eight
show.
NFL. College is in week 9, but we got a bunch of teams on by. Arizona
Yeah, run
Cardinals, the
through 'em.
Detroit Lions, the Jags, the Raiders, the LA Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks all on by. This is one of those weeks where you got to make sure you switch your fantasy lineups around because half your dudes are on by,
Yeah,
and it makes it a little bit trickier to pull out some locks and props just because you only have what.
reduced slate.
Yeah, exactly. You only have 12 matchups or whatever it is.
Yep, but we still have a lot of glorious football that we're going to get into.
100%.
First up, props of the week. What do you got for us?
Yeah, prop wise, the first one, Drake May. We know how impressive that Browns defense is, especially their rush defense.
Right.
I think that in this streak that the Patriots are on, they've been able to run the ball a little bit here and there, but it still hasn't really excelled. And I think Drake May is starting to find his own a little bit up there in New England. So Drake May over 20 and a half completions. I wasn't super, I looked at the yards, but I think in general that Cleveland defense, although this one will be in New England, is still competent enough. And I don't necessarily know what this game's going to look like. I think it's going to be pretty low scoring as a whole. So I went with the completions on this one just because I do think that's going to be the route to go for the New England Patriots.
Yeah, no, I like that play a lot. That's Drake May over 20 and a half completions, minus 105 there.
Yep.
Was that Bet365 or
That
DraftKings?
was bet 365. Yeah.
Yeah, that's typically where most of these going to be just this early in the week. But
Yeah.
so shout out to for having numbers because it's nice to get down early.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go right there with you. The Cleveland Browns have the number one ranked defense in yardage. Both they're really good against the run and the pass. So I
Yep.
think completions is the way to go there. I'm going to stay in that game. Give me Ramondre Stevenson under 61 and a half rush yards, minus 110. Also over at bet. Actually, I think this was at DK this week. But it's a situation where Ramondre Stevenson has hit this once this year,
Yeah.
and it was last week. And I don't think this is something that the Patriots have magically figured out. It was
Yep.
more playing and blowing out a Titans team, right? A
Yep.
Titans defense that lost Jeffrey Simmons during the game, obviously their best lineman, that plays a factor, and game script that plays a factor.
Yep.
The Browns defense really good. They are top 5 against the run. They're only letting up 82 yards a game. I
Mm-hmm.
think not only is Ramondre going to have to split carries, whether it's Trayvon Henderson or they brought in this other back, Jacobs, I think is his name.
Yep.
Someone they it seems like they're trying to do everything they can, but not give Henderson a heavy workload. But
Yeah.
there's
Good
still
point.
a little bit of a split backfield. But no running back really has gone off against this Browns defense. I think
Right.
this is going to be an ugly game where it's close, but it's never really. It's kind of like the Patriots are going to win the whole time, but the Browns keep it close because they play a good solid defense there. Their
Yep.
defensive line is still very good. Again, Ramondre Stevenson's, I know he went for 88 yards, but before that, 18 yards on 13 carries, 14 yards on 7, 38 yards, 18, 54, and 15. Like he's not even come close to going to 62. And now
Right.
he's going up against a really, really good rush defense. So give me Ramondre Stevenson under 61 and a half rush yards, minus 110.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I like that one as well. Let me switch over to the Bears Ravens game. In general, the Ravens are favored this week. Why? I'm not 100% sure because they still are, 1-6 at this point, and their defense isn't fixed. Like, yes, you're getting an MVP, style quarterback in Lamar Jackson back. That defense is still going to be the same defense for the most part. So
Yeah.
give me room Adunze over 60 and a half yards at minus 110. He's hit this in 3 of the last 5 games. The last couple weeks, they really just haven't needed him against the Saints last week, and then 2 weeks ago he just had a down week against the Commanders, but he's still averaging 7-8 targets a game. He's getting plenty of looks over there, and DJ Moore is still beat up. DeAndre Swift hasn't been practicing. He played last week with that groin injury, but the week before that he was kind of battling through that, and he was limited in practice. Now he's not practicing. I don't know if things got worse or if they're just being a little bit more cautious with him, but I think that they are going to have to throw the ball on this Ravens team just to keep up scoring wise. So give me Rome Odunze over 60 and a half at minus 110.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that defense, even when they were healthy, they were still bottom in the league. So I
Yep.
don't think, I think this notion that the Ravens are going to come back and just be world beaters, like even when healthy, this Ravens team was not dominant. They were better. Don't get me wrong; they weren't getting blown out, but
They
that's not
they
like
dominated the Browns, and that's it.
a lot of teams
Other
have done
other
that.
than that, they're giving up like 30 points a game to teams that they shouldn't.
Exactly. Yeah, I like it. All right, I'm gonna go to Cortland Sutton over
Yeah.
there against at home. The Broncos are playing the Dallas Cowgirls there.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton over 61 and a half receiving yards there, minus 110. That is over at DraftKings. The Stevenson prop was Bet365, the under there. So you know I'm picking on a bad defense. And,
Yep.
this is the worst pass defense in the league, in the Cowboys. They're giving up 260 and 0.3 yards per game. And Cortland Sutton is by far the number one wide receiver. It's pretty simple handicap, but I mean, I've been
Yeah.
exploiting it this whole time. Why would I go away from it?
Yep.
So Cortland Sutton, he would have hit this in 4 out of his last 5 games. He went for 87 last week, only 17 against the Jets in an ugly London game.
Yep.
But then 99, 81, 118. He is the clear wide receiver one. Trayvon Diggs, who gave himself a concussion at home last week, still in the protocol, so we'll see there.
Yep.
But, it's a situation where, again, whether Diggs is out there or not, at no point has this Cowboys defense looked competent, looked good, especially their pass defense. However, their
Yep.
offense looks really good. So they're going to score. So the Broncos are going to have to throw the ball. A lot of this game against the Giants, they weren't doing much on offense. And then they were kind of fourth quarter hit. And all of a sudden things happened. And that's where Sutton got a lot of his yards. And they're going to have
Yep.
to continue to throw the ball. This is not going to be one where they're going to be able to sit on it. And, that Cowboys offense is going to score. They're going to score on everybody. And if Jackson Dart just put up 32 on this Denver defense, they're pretty good, but they're not ungettable, right? So that's why I think that Cortland Sutton, both game script, and he's got a great matchup here. So give me Sutton over 61.5 receiving yards at minus 110 over at DraftKings. What is your final prop for NFL Week 8?
Final one is one of those old quarterbacks that we just got done talking about, and that's Joe Flacco, over
Oh, baby.
247 and a half passing yards at minus 110. Basically, he's going up against a Jets team that might just be quitting on the team at this point. And they're going to be out Sauce Gardner, it sounds like. So
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
in general, the Jets passing defense has been pretty good. They don't have Sauce Gardner. Plus, they're in the bottom third in the league at giving up big plays in the passing game. They've given up 22 balls over 20 yards. Joe Flacco just crushed this number this past week against the Steelers with a decent secondary. So give me Joe Flacco to fling the ball all around the yard to those wide receivers over there in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm never going to be mad at a Joe Flacco overpassing. I mean, I gave it out last week on Thursday. It came in very easily.
Yep.
Jets just absolute mess. Who knows who's going to be starting at quarterback? It seems like they
Yep.
want it to be Tyrod. Is he going to be healthy? Garrett Wilson's not practicing. Yada yada yada. But
Yep.
the Bengals are the team that will throw 50 passes no matter what the game script is. Like
Yep.
they're similar, almost like, I want to say the Lions and their aggressiveness, but the Lions actually commit to the run. The
Yeah.
Bengals, yeah, they just seem to throw it all over the yard. So I like
Yeah.
that against the defense, likely without their cornerback number one. Okay. I am going to the touchdown market. Give me Tyler Algier anytime touchdown plus 155 over at
Okay.
Bet365. They definitely got a juicy number here. In every single game that the Atlanta Falcons have won this year, they're 3-3. They
Mm-hmm.
have Tyler Algier scored a touchdown. It's very simple, right?
Yeah.
When they're winning the game, when the game script, obviously Bijan's going to be involved regardless, especially through the air. But when they want to ice a game down, when they want to bang it into the end zone, they give it to the bowling ball, and that's Tyler Algier. Tyler
Yep.
Algier's got 3 touchdowns on the year on the ground, and it's every time they win, he gets a touchdown. And they're going up against Miami Dolphins team that one I think is just quitting. I mean,
Yeah.
flat out, every single player on the trade block seems to be a Miami Dolphins player, defender. And
Yeah.
this is the worst rush defense in the league. We've been picking on them for several weeks. Judkins had 3 touchdowns against them last week.
Yep.
They're giving up 100 and almost 60 yards on the ground alone. And this is a team in the Falcons that will run the ball 40 times. They will commit to the run because honestly, instead of having Michael Penix throw the ball 30 times, like that is their path to success. And Tyler
Yeah.
Algier has a nose for the end zone. I think this praise, Bijan's number is like minus 200 something. I think Algier should be closer to minus 110. Like I love Algier in this spot to get in the end zone. Dolphins already given up 9 touchdowns on the ground this year. I think that this Falcons offense is going to have their way, and especially on the ground there. Give me Tyler Algier anytime touchdown plus 155. Quick recap of the props for NFL week number 8. For Derek, he is going with Drake May over 20.5 completions against that Browns stingy defense. Then he's going Rome Odinze over 16.5 receiving yards, minus 110 against the Ravens defense that, no matter healthy, is still not very good. And then Joe Flacco over 247.5 pass yards against a Jets team, likely without Sauce Gardner. For myself, give me Tyler Algier. Anytime touchdown, plus 155 against a Dolphins defense that is just pitiful. Cortland Sutton over 61.5 receiving yards, minus 110 against the worst pass defense in the league, which is the Dallas Cowgirls. And Ramondre Stevenson under 61.5 rush yards against a very stingy Browns rush defense there. May split some carries, but ultimately do not love the matchup. Don't think that offensive line has figured it out. Okay. Now we are getting into our docs prescriptions. Again, we are on a streak of all streaks. I went 3-1 the past 3 weeks. Derek's went 3-1 and then 2-2 last week. Combined 17-7. We're on fire. We're looking to let's sweep the board, man. We've been really, really close to sweeping the board. I think this is the week. Let's let you kick it off. What is your first best bet for NFL Week 8?
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty simple to me. You have a team that had been streaking a little bit going into Monday night against, you called it at the beginning of the season, potentially the worst team in the league. So give me the Atlanta Falcons minus 7.5 at home against a Miami team that might as well just give up now. Finally, we've talked about it earlier on in the season. Ended up playing pretty well for a few days or a few games, but Darren Waller back on the IR. Big surprise there. We don't know what's going to go on with this whole Tua thing. You know, he might get replaced in the, by halftime.
Right.
And the Miami defense is the worst in the league against the rush. And they're going up against the number one back in the league in Bijan Robinson. So I think at home, especially coming off of that Monday night loss out in San Francisco, these Falcons are going to want to get back on the winning side of the ball. And I think they cover the 7.5 pretty easily.
Yeah, no, I mean, I will 20-1. I gave out for the Dolphins to be the worst team in the NFL. I will not be backing them, so I love the Falcons play there. All right, for myself here, give me San Francisco 49ers on the money line, plus 102. They're traveling on the road to the Houston Texans. I have no idea how they are underdogs in this one. I know it's a small dog, a little yapper, but as much as I wanted to fade this 49ers team, they just continue to win. Like, it doesn't matter who they roll out there. Christian McCaffrey is having an insane year. They're even getting a little bit healthier with George Kittle coming back into the mix. Who knows? It sounds like no Brock Purdy, but I mean, honestly, Brock Purdy is just, I know he got paid, but he's kind of losing himself some money because Mac Jones looks fine. He looks perfectly fine in that role, filling into that Kyle Shanahan offense. And the Texans, I mean, if the Texans aren't going to win a game like last week where they won the turnover battle and had everything going for them, how the hell are they going to win anything? They've beaten this year the Titans at home and Baltimore with nobody the first week that Baltimore had everybody out. They've essentially beaten two bottom of the barrel teams, and that's it. San Francisco already 3-1 on the road, only losing to Tampa Bay. This is going to be in that dome there in NRG Stadium. I love the 49ers here. And also injury report wise, Nico Collins is in the concussion protocol, did not practice today, and no Christian Kirk. Who the hell is CJ Stroud going to throw the ball to? Typically, almost everyone this year has missed at least one game with concussion. Marvin Harrison came back in a week, but he did practice on Wednesday. So not looking good for the Texans. Give me the 49ers on the money line.
Don't mind that one. I'm going to skip over my second one just because I put the graphics together and I know that we're on the same game in this one. So let me jump down to the third one. Indianapolis Colts. This game is jumping around a little bit, so you're going to probably want to get this one in sooner rather than later. But this is a 6-1 Colts team against a 1-6 Tennessee Titans team that I thought might get a little bit of a coaching boost after firing Taylor a couple weeks ago. McCoy still sucks down there in Tennessee. the Titans are giving up almost 30 points a game, and the Colts are scoring over 30 points a game. I know that it's a division matchup, and I know that it's a giant spread, but I think the Colts might win by 30 in this
Yeah.
one. So
Yep.
give me the Colts. I got it at minus 14. I know there's some minus 14 and a halves out there. So shop around a little bit to get a good price if you're going to be on the Colts. But yeah, give me the Colts at minus 14.
Yeah, I've laid big numbers with the Colts all year, and they've came through, especially at home.
Yep.
Another big news on the injury front: Titans star defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons and best cornerback L'Jarius Sneed both going to be
Yep. Right.
out a couple weeks. They're both labeled week to week. So
Yep.
it's a team that the coaching bump really didn't even work. Now what
Nope.
the hell do they have to pay for? They're going on
Right.
the road against, let's face it, a really good Colts team. One of the
Yeah.
better teams in the league. So I love that there. Okay, I'm going to take an opportunity to buy a team low here. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -4. This is over on
I
Bet365.
looked at that one. Yep.
That they're on the road in New Orleans. A situation where, yes, the whole story here is going to be the
They
injury
don't have any
report.
wide receivers,
Right.
Seb. They don't have anybody.
The injury report for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, they haven't had any fucking receivers this whole year, right?
Exactly.
Mike Evans, that was his first game back. Godwin's been in and out. It's been the Emeka Ibuka show,
Yep.
and the last week was the week that we were concerned about, coming off that 1 week of just with the hamstring strain. I know he didn't practice today. That's much more of a maintenance thing, in my opinion. He played the whole
Yes.
game last week. He's going to be healthier, getting closer to 100%. And I mean, let's talk about the Saints. The Saints, their star Pro Bowl center, Eric McCoy, is out for the season with a biceps tear, and
Yep.
their running back, Kendre Miller, who was looking good, tore his ACL. So it's
Right.
not like they're super healthy as well. And I think, that offensive line, we talk about chemistry. When your
Yep.
star center goes out, I think that's going to be a huge deal.
Yeah.
So I think it's a situation where the Saints are another one where people are trying to see who's available, trying to trade away the farm there. I know they're a little bit peskier at home, but I think Baker's pissed off. Like this Bucks team got embarrassed in Detroit
Yeah.
against a bunch of backups. I think they come back. They know who they're going to have. Look, no Bucky Irving, no Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans. But
Yep.
again, they haven't had them for several weeks and have been beating teams like the 49ers and beating good teams. I think it's a good buy low opportunity. I think this game was closer to the Bucks by a touchdown before that Monday night game. Yeah, they had a bad game on the road in Detroit. It's a tough place to play. I love them now they're looking at a bye week ahead. I think they kind of step up and go into the bye off a win against this
Yeah.
New
No,
Orleans.
with you mentioning Mike Evans there, can we give a shout out to Mike Evans in his 11 consecutive 1,000-yard
I think it was
seasons?
like
And
12 or 13. Yeah.
whatever it is at this point, it's over a decade long.
Yeah.
Sadly, it doesn't look like he's going to get there this year, just
Yeah.
because of obviously collarbone
Yeah.
fracture now, and then I think it was a hamstring issue, for 2 or 3 weeks there. That sucks to
Yeah.
have one of your, I mean, a standard in the NFL go down like that.
Yeah, no, Mike Evans is freaking awesome. I think it was Jerry Rice that he was tied with for the most
Yes.
consecutive 1,000-yard season. So it looks like they'll both be in the record books. Broken collarbone, about they're saying 6 to 8. I would think closer to 8 to 12 weeks. So
Yeah, I think I was reading today that they're saying for an end of season return. My guess is this is going to be a playoff thing, if
right.
that.
Ramp up maybe week 17, 18, and then
Right.
really back for the playoffs would be the goal. Cool. All right, what is your third play here with the best bets?
Yeah, I'm going to continue to fade the Ratbirds over there in Baltimore. Their defense still sucks, dude. I
Yeah,
mean, the Lamar Jackson effect
not
is
good.
going to help their offense. Like,
Sure.
King Henry is still a thing. Lamar Jackson is an MVP caliber quarterback. Their defense is still beat up, and it still sucks. So I think this Chicago Bears team has figured out how to win over the last 4 weeks. They're on a 4-game win streak. They've looked pretty good over the last 2-3 weeks. They were able to get over the hurdle over or a couple weeks ago against the Commanders and get a win after the Hail Mary last year. I think the Bears are a pretty solid team. And I think the Baltimore Ravens suck.
Yeah.
So give me the Bears plus 6.5 at -115.
Yeah, I looked hard at this. I have this in the personal stock. My only thing was it is a back. I mean, but like every game for the Ravens is going to be a back against the wall.
Yep.
I'm a little bit nervous with the way the Bears burned me in Week 1 about taking them,
And yeah.
but
Well,
I
and the Ravens are coming off a bye. I think that's the one
right,
thing that gave me a little bit of hesitancy, but I think this is going to be a shootout, just like we saw Baltimore in Week 1 against the Bills. I
right,
think this is going to be like a 31-28 game kind of a thing.
absolutely, yeah, I know, and I mean honestly, who are the Ravens to be laying 6.5 against this solid team at this point? Like
Right.
it's almost like name brand in college football. Like this is just
Right.
everyone's like Ravens at home. It has to be a smash spot. They
Except
don't
for
look
2 weeks
good.
ago against the Rams, they've given up 44, 37, 38 over the last 4 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
their defense is not very good.
Yeah, no, I like it. All right, you're going from fading a division rival. I'm going to backing one here, which I hate to do, but
Ooh.
give me the Dallas Cowgirls plus 3.5 over
2nd
there.
week in a row.
I know they came through for me last week, but
It's true.
plus 3.5 minus 115 over there on DraftKings. Look, this is a situation where the Denver Broncos are a solid team, but man, they play with their
Yeah,
food a lot.
they
They,
do.
they against Philly, they had to come have a pretty miraculous comeback. Obviously, against us, it was a really miraculous comeback. They had a 2-point win against the Jets.
Yep.
They beat the Bengals when it was still the what's his name
Brown.
Browning era, right? So like they really haven't blown out any solid team, and I hate to
Yeah.
say it, but the Cowboys are a solid team at this point.
Yep.
They're gonna score with anybody, and no, like they're getting healthier is the big thing for me. We saw CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens last week what they were able to do. Their center Cooper Beebe has his practice window opened, as well as linebacker DeMarvion Overshone, who was a stud last year, and their draft pick Siobhan Ravel out of East Carolina. Like this team, a lot of the reason we were fading them was the health issue. They can put up points, but man, can they stop anybody? Well, they're getting healthier on both sides of the ball. And Dak Prescott, we kind of bet on this. He's having a great year.
Yep.
The interceptions aren't coming at home, but the touchdowns, the passing yards, he's having. I'm not going to say an MVP level year because I don't think the team's good enough for that. But
Right.
he's been very impressive. So I think the Broncos. I think this is just a field goal game, if anything. We'll see if Dallas is able to pull it out, but I think it's going to be a dogfight. And the Broncos were extremely lucky last week. Let's be honest, they should have
Yep.
lost at home, and that would mean the past couple weeks they really haven't looked that good. So I think Sean Payton and the play calling is all the Denver fans will tell you it's a bit conservative, and then he tries to save it till the end. You got to be careful when you have a high-powered offense like the Cowgirls coming into town. So give me
Yep.
Dallas on the road plus 3.5. I don't think I can say any other good things about that team.
Yep.
All right,
I like
last
it.
play. Seems like we may have some agreements here. What do you got?
Yeah. Can we talk about the Steelers being at home
Yep,
and a dog
that doesn't
on
make
Sunday
sense.
Night Football? That
Doesn't
does
make sense.
not make any sense to me.
No.
I mean, a couple of things here. One, they do have a little bit of extra rest.
Yep.
Two, the Packers started off really, really hot. And then
Right.
they've been, I'll say, kind of middle of the road
Right.
since then.
They got a tie.
Exactly. And then finally, uh Tomlin's record coming off of Thursday Night Football is 14-6. Thursday Night Football, he mails it in. Like he's like 0-9 or something like that, or 2-9 on Thursday Night Football. The week after, the lures come to play, and I think this is one of those things where Aaron Rodgers is going to want a little bit of revenge against the Packers. It's on Sunday Night Football in prime time in the
Yep.
Steel City. I don't know how the Packers are favored in this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, I like the Steelers on the money line. If you're going to give me the +3, sure, I'll take it. Yeah, give me a field goal.
Yep.
Absolutely. I was, one of those people that was like, damn, this Packers team after week 2, they beat the
Yep.
Lions at home. They beat the shit out of them too, and they beat the shit out of the Commanders. Like, whoa, this team is for real. But
Yep.
let's take a step back on that Commanders team. Not looking very good right now. Lions do look good, but they were 3 new offensive linemen, different pieces to play there.
Right.
Lost to the Cleveland Browns, tied to the Cowboys. Yes, you beat Joe Flacco in his first game. He had 3 days to prepare. It was still only an 11-point game. And then you
Yep.
really should have lost to the Cardinals. This is a back-to-back road spot for the Green Bay Packers here. They're
Yep.
only 1-1-1 on the road, playing the Cardinals, the Cowboys, and the Browns. Not
Yep.
very good competition. So, yes, at home in Lambeau, a very tough team. I do not trust Jordan Love on the road. It's
Nope.
going to be a chaotic, toxic environment there. Renegade's going to be blaring. This is a huge game. The
Yep.
Steelers know they let one get away.
Yep.
And I think they come back. Tomlin gets them right. And yeah, I
Yep.
love the Steelers in this one. Insane to me that they're the dog. I think the Packers, just like, yes, weeks 1 and 2 were very impressive. Let's pay attention to what they've been doing. It's not been nearly as impressive.
Right.
So yeah, love the Steelers here. Give us the lures there. Quick recap for Professor Locks. He's on the Falcons, laying the big number against a terrible Miami Dolphins team. He is on the Steelers as home dogs on Sunday Night Football. The Colts laying the big number against Tennessee Titans, and the Chicago Bears keeping it close with the Baltimore Ravens. For myself, I am on San Francisco 49ers, money line plus 102, way better team than the Texans. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers -4 in a division rivalry spot against the Saints. The Dallas Cowgirls catching 3.5 points over in Denver. And then I will also be on those lures Sunday Night Football. No way they should be a dog. Let's get into the fun part here. Let's talk Degen parlays. As we said, we hit a 31 last week. So
Yep.
I know it wasn't an official play. That's why you need to be following on X. But that's what we're looking for. What do you got for us?
First one, I'm going to back a guy that you backed in the props market. Give me Cam Sutton to have 2 touchdowns against the Dallas pass defense that is one of the worst in the league. And then give me the other guy that you talked about, actually, Emeka Ibuka. I mean, we've talked about how the Tampa Bay Bucks don't really have any wide receivers and how they've gone to Emeka Ibuka basically the entire year. So if Sutton and Ibuka both get 2 touchdowns, 83-1.
Ooh, an easy 83-1. That is Cortland Sutton. I know you said Cam Sutton. You're thinking about your old Steelers
Yeah,
back
for
there.
whatever reason, I always do that. Yeah.
Cortland Sutton, 2 touchdowns. Emeka Ibuka, 2 touchdowns. 83-1. Typically, I would root against that Sutton play as I'm on the Cowgirls, but I think there's going to be a bajillion points in that game, so that's fine.
Yeah,
Sutton can
100%.
get 2, and then that's going to be it.
Yep.
Ibuka, I like that play. Again, he's been Baker's guy. I mean, he hit his. We gave out 5+ touchdowns on the year at 2-1. He hit that in the first 6 weeks. So this guy's a touchdown machine. Baker, get right spot. Love it. All right, for me, I'm going to go back to what I've been doing here the past couple weeks. Giving out 4 plays that I feel like is a lot of value on some of these. We are 2-10 on the year, but we are plus 15 units because they're a bunch of long shots. So we're going to give this out here. Calvin Austin, anytime touchdown, plus 425. He's back. And, in his couple games that he's played, he has a touchdown. I think he is the clear wide receiver number 2. He's someone that the Steelers honestly need. Aaron Rodgers kind of needs that. I know they've been using a tight end while he's been out, but no Roman Wilson. No one's been stepping up outside of him. I think he has a clear role in the offense. So I think just under 5-1. I think that's a steal of a price. I think people basically forgot about him coming off injury. He was a full go in practice today. He should be good to go. Give me Daniel Bellinger, New York Giants tight end number 2. Anytime touchdown plus 800. He had it. He had a touchdown just last week. He's kind of, the Giants don't really have any wide receivers. Wan'Dale Robinson, okay. Slayton may be coming back, but they're in a lot of 2 tight end sets because they have to be. Daniel Bellinger is a guy who is reliable. He's a reliable target around the red zone. Theo Johnson, the tight end one, has been having some drop issues. I think he's a guy that Dart can trust. He's going to be on the field. I think 8-1 is a crazy price here. Next up, Curtis Samuel. He is coming back from injury, and he is a guy who already has a touchdown on the year and just playing in 2 games. Josh Palmer is going to be out in this one. The Bills are going has to be a get right spot for them against the Carolina Panthers. They've been kind of looking like ass. They're coming off the bye. I think this is going to be a kitchen sink game. I think Curtis Samuel is the perfect gadget guy to kind of float around the end zone, whether it's going to be a wide receiver reverse or some type of play. He's someone that they're going to look for in the red zone. 6-1 is insane. And then finally, no Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans. Give me not Tez Johnson, but Cameron Johnson, anytime
Okay.
touchdown plus 750. Last week, not super involved. The week before that, though, he had 4 catches, 4 targets, and a touchdown and 60 yards. When Mike Evans was out of the game plan, it's basically going to be Emeka Buka and then Sterling Shepard and the 2 Johnsons mixing into each other, right? So I think
Yep.
this is a situation where we just saw it against a better San Francisco team where he had an impact and he found the end zone. Plus 750 just does not make sense there. So give me Calvin Austin, anytime touchdown, plus 425. Daniel Bellinger, 8-1. Curtis Samuel, 6-1. And Cameron Johnson, plus 750. And the bonus that I was usually going to save for the pregame, but I don't want the YouTube crowd to get left out. 2-step this week, as my dog is letting us know that she likes it. Javonte Williams, 2 touchdowns, and Tyler Algier, 2 touchdowns is just a nice and simple, I think, 80-1 for those 2 to score. So just because I felt bad last week hitting a 30-1 and not the YouTube getting it. So, all right, you ready to talk about Thursday night?
Let's do it.
All right, we are getting into Thursday night football here. We have the Minnesota Vikings traveling out to LA to take on the Los Angeles Chargers there. We got the Vikings catching 3 points there, plus 100. They're plus 145 on the money line. Chargers, -3, -120. The money line is -175. Over-under sitting at 44.5. I'll go through the injuries here as I always do, and then Derek's going to lead us off with the analysis for this game. For the Vikings, the reports have come out. So look, JJ McCarthy is not technically out, but he's not going to be starting. They labeled him as questionable,
Doesn't
which
make any sense.
is weird to me. Yeah, we can have the conversation if this is soft benching or not, but I will say, like, if he's not back by next week, like, this is weird. Like, mild high ankle sprains, 4 to 6 weeks for a full recovery. Most guys try to play through them, especially quarterbacks, like weeks 2, 3. It doesn't always go very well, but like needing the full 6 weeks as a quarterback is pretty rare. All right, let's continue on here, and I can calm my dog down here. Actually, why don't you read off the rest of the injuries? I'm gonna go see if I can pull out a fire real quick.
Okay, so where did you leave off? I wasn't even listening to you.
CJ Ham.
Okay. CJ Ham with the hand injury. He's going to be out. Andrew Van Ginkel still dealing with that neck injury. He's still going to be out. Aaron Jones is the big question mark because dealing with a hamstring injury, it seems like somebody has some sort of information. I haven't personally seen a ton of reports coming out that Aaron Jones is going to come back on, especially on a short week. But Aaron Jones is questionable in this one. Somebody to continue to look for, especially in the props market. But right tackle Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw are both questionable as well for this one. And then on the Chargers side of things, they got a boatload of guys out, but Hassan Haskins is going to be out. Ogbonio, the D tackle, is going to be out. Deshaun Hand, and Joe Alt is going to be the potentially big addition to the Chargers and hopefully solidify that offensive line for Justin Herbert and Vidal at the running back position. But Trey Pipkins on the other side of things, potentially coming back. And then Troy Dye is questionable as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. I really just wanted to hear you read off Tito Agbanya's name. But we've got, guys out on both sides. I think Van Ginkel is a big one for the Vikings to not be back. And the other way, the Chargers, yes, Haskins, but, Vidal's been fine. But 2 starting defensive linemen, and Banya and Hand, who are on the IR, who a lot of people are missing, are going to be out. And then, O-line questions. I think that Jordan Mason is perfectly fine at the running back, but Joe Alt, Trey Pipkins, like Joe Alt, once this line went out, they've been terrible. And then the Minnesota Vikings, both their tackles, if they're going to be out, like this is going to be one that, unfortunately, Darrisaw was a late add today, which is always kind of like what's going on because they didn't really practice. It's been that simulated practice thing. So this is going to be one where you're going to want to like pay attention to inactives and see who's going to be out there because unfortunately, not a great read with all these guys being questionable. These offensive lines may be a mess. So what do you got in this one? Let's game pick or over under.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a high flying game against a couple offenses that are pretty good. Defensively, the Vikings are pretty solid, but they haven't looked as good of late, to at least in my opinion. Um, I think that the over is going to hit at 44 and a half. I don't. I didn't end up picking a side in this one. Um, yeah, I just don't have a great read on either of these teams because with Wentz over there in Minnesota, you just never know what you're going to get out of Carson Wentz at this point in his career. And if Joe Alt comes back, I think that the Chargers are going to be a much different team compared to what we've seen over the past 2 or 3 weeks. So, yeah, give me the over 44 and a half. I'm going to stay away from the side.
Yeah, look, I'm right there with you with the over. A Chargers defense that I once thought was a pretty damn good defense.
It's not
Last
very
four
good.
games, they've given up 21, 27, 27, and 38
Yeah,
to a rookie making his first start. I think that was Marcus Mariota, Tua, and Daniel
hmm
Jones. So,
right.
yeah, Carson Wentz isn't the greatest thing, but neither are a lot of those guys, right? So,
No.
I think, and then on the Minnesota Vikings side, we just saw what Jalen Hurts did to them, putting up 28 and a lot through
Yep.
the air. There's a Vikings defense that's aggressive, but they're vulnerable for those deep shots over the top,
Yep.
which we're going to get to a little bit. I think the Chargers got a couple guys that take advantage there. So I do
Yeah.
think we get some points here, especially because I think it's going to be a little bit ugly and we might see some turnovers.
Yep.
But give me Minnesota plus the 3, plus 100 here
Okay.
because I think there's going to be some variance. As much as it's been talked about Carson Wentz and his erratic play,
Sure.
Herbert's not played clean ball to this point, right?
Yeah.
He's got 6 interceptions on the year, which is more than Wentz. I understand he's kind of playing hero ball because he feels like he has to, but I
Right.
think that's dangerous, man. And we'll see. I thought Joe Alt was already going to be back coming off that high ankle sprain. We know it's a tough injury to deal with. So even if he plays, he's not going to be 100%. Pipkins
Especially
on the other side,
the mountain of a man that he is, being six
right?
eight, 340
Exactly.
or whatever.
He's a good ball player, but man, like that all line, it's not even just the tackles. They got backups all over the field. And again,
Yeah.
that defense, like I think the one unit I have a little bit more faith in is the Vikings and Brian Flores. I think their defense I trust a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that no one can cover who's covering Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. That's my big question. So
Yep.
this was a tough one. It's not one that I definitely felt great, but in a bit of a toss up, give me the 3 points with
Yep.
the plus 100 there. All right, what are some props that you like, and then we can do a little bit of degen stuff at the end. What
Yeah.
are you going with?
Yeah. So I think you just mentioned it. Who's gonna cover Jetta? I don't
Yeah,
know if anybody's gonna be able to line up across from Justin Jefferson for the Chargers and lock him down. So give me his over 75 and a half at minus 110. Kind of on a similar standpoint with the Chargers or the Vikings defense, excuse me. I don't know if they have anybody that's going to match up really well with Lad McConkey, and he just keeps getting targets, especially not knowing if Joe Alt's going to come back. Vidal has had a decent run here, but I think Lad McConkey is going to get plenty of targets
yeah,
and haul in at least 5 or 6 of them. So give me his Lad McConkey's over 4.5 receptions. I do think that Justin Herbert's going to try to play a little bit of hero ball, and that's going to be the way that they find the end zone. So give me Justin Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns at minus 150. So paying a little bit of a premium there, but I think that one's very likely to hit in a higher scoring game.
yeah.
And then if they try to take away Addison and Jetta, that just leaves Jalen Naylor wide open all the time. And his number is very low at 15 and a half. So give me Jalen Naylor's over 15 and a half yards at minus 110.
Yeah, no, I like a lot of that. I mean, I'll be. Where'd you get the 15 and a half at? You might have got it earlier than I did then.
No, I actually just got it like 10 minutes ago over at Bet365.
Okay, well then head over to Bet365 and get that because DraftKings has it at 17 and a half and like a donkey I'm on that one minus 108. But I do think Naylor, I like him. I'd play him up to 20.
Yeah.
He's the guy that outside of one game, he's hit this in every single game. He's got 28, 31, 37, 2, 27, 37. So he's,
Yep.
other than the one game against Pittsburgh in London or
Dublin.
Dublin, that one Dublin game, right? And he still had 4 targets in that game. So
Right.
he's involved in the offense. And this is a situation where we think there's going to be some points here. So I like Naylor at a low number. I'm going to go with Quentin Johnston. He is my longest reception over 20 and a half.
Okay.
He has hit this number in every single game except for one this year. And it's a situation where the last time we just saw this Vikings defense, Devonta Smith had a long of 79 yards. A.J. Brown had a long of 45 yards. So I think
Yep.
Quentin Johnson is actually the guy I'm going to ladder here with the longest reception over on Bet365. Look, his starting number is 20 and a half minus 120, but 30 plus is plus 215 and 50 plus is 10 to 1. Again, we just saw what, he's went for 60 already this year. We just saw what Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown did. I think that Viking secondary is vulnerable over the top because they're aggressive and they blitz a lot. So that's what's just going to live by the sword, die by the sword. I think they pop one there. All right. I talked about how I think this might be a sloppy game.
Yes.
And I think this is going to be a sloppy game in the sense that both of these quarterbacks are being very, precarious with the football. Like they're not, excuse me. They're being extremely loose, right? They're kind of throwing it all over the place. Herbert, he's had a couple interceptions. I think he had 2 last week. Wentz had 2, one that went for pick 6. Give me both the quarterbacks to throw an interception. Herbert over an interception is plus 101. And Wentz over interception, Herbert over on DK, and then Wentz over on Bet365 minus 125. I don't love laying juice all the time, but I mean, Wentz, when he plays, he turns the ball over, right? So both these quarterbacks, I think, have had trouble turning the ball over, and both these defenses have been opportunistic. So I like both these quarterbacks to throw an interception there. Another one, Oronde Gadsden over 39 and a half receiving yards. He's been very involved in the offense past couple weeks.
Yep.
I think that he's taking over that Will Dissly spot and that Tyler Conklin spot. He's been great. I think he went for over 60 yards or went for over 100 yards last week, but he's been slowly more involved. Right, yeah. So, and I think this is a situation where a lot of points, a lot of throwing is kind of what we're going with here. That's been the theme, so we're going to stick with it. Do you have any defensive plays for us today?
I do not tonight.
All right. I'll give out my one defensive, then I'll let you do touchdowns. I'll do touchdowns. We'll get on out of here. I think that both these teams are susceptible to sacks, and we talk about the Chargers offensive line. It's the interior, right? Bozeman has been one of the worst graded centers in all the NFL. Becton's been in and out of the lineup. Like their interior offensive line has been especially poor. And Jalen Redmond is the leading sack getter for the Minnesota Vikings. He's at plus 155. I'd still getting plus money for him to get a sack there. I think the interior pressure is the way to go here. Now, the other guy I was looking for on the Chargers was Egboki I just destroyed his name. Hold on. But especially if you're going to get potentially 2 backups. Like I think both these teams, the sack market is especially live. Egboji. Oh my goodness. Maybe I'll stop while I'm behind.
Yeah,
Justin.
No more.
He's already got 2 sacks on the year, but I think those are the 2 you target in the sack market. All right. What are your touchdown plays for this one?
Yeah. The first one's pretty chalky, and that's Jordan Mason. Anytime touchdown at minus 110. I think as a whole, this Vikings offense looks a lot better if it's balanced. And I think in general, the Chargers are going to try to take away Addison and Jetta. And I think Jordan Mason's going to be able to find the end zone at least once in this game. The other ones, you just talked about him, Oronde Gadsden.
Yeah.
He just found the end zone last week against the Colts. He's coming off a massive game. And like you said, I think he's kind of filling in that Will Dissly role. So Gadsden, anytime touchdown at plus 210.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, he's taken over as the number 1 tight end there, and Herbert likes to use the tight end.
And I believe besides McConkey, he's like the leading route runner in this offense over the last 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, he's getting plenty of targets. The last 2 weeks, he's had 8 targets and 9 targets. So they're trying to get him the ball. He's a massive target, especially down there in the red zone. So I think Herbert will try to find him.
Yeah, I like it. My two anytime touchdown plays, both dart throws, both in the similar vein. Give me the defensives. LA Chargers defense, special teams plus 475. Minnesota
Yeah.
Vikings defense, special teams 5-1 over on DraftKings. Carson Wentz just let up through a pick six, a very very bad pick six to the Eagles
Yep.
last week. Um,
Yep.
I think Herbert is liable to turn the ball over. I think both these guys, their offensive line in front of them is one they can't trust. They're going to be under duress. You can get a fumble, scoop and score opportunities there. I just think both these defenses, you got Brian Flores and that aggressive style of defense they play, and you got a guy like Derwin James and Khalil Mack on the other side for the Chargers. Like those are just opportunistic players. I can easily
Yep.
see these guys taking it to the house. So a little bit of a dart throw at a 5-1 around there for both of them. That's where I'm going. So I know we were talking a lot, so I'll do a quick recap here. Both of us are on the over 44.5 in this one. I am backing the Vikings plus the 3. Derek is on the over for Lad McConkey receptions, 4.5. Justin Jefferson over 75.5 receiving yards. Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns, and Jalen Naylor over 15.5. I am on Naylor as well. Give me Gadsden over 39.5. Quentin Johnson, longest reception. I'm on his over and his ladder there. And then give me both the quarterbacks to throw an interception and Jalen Redmond to get a sack. For the touchdowns, you were taking Mason and Gadsden, and I am on the two defenses and special team units there. So
Yep.
hopefully going to be a lot of fireworks, a lot of turnovers potentially, and a crazy, crazy Thursday night game. Hopefully the opposite of a boring, boring London game is what we're shooting for there. All right, folks, look, we've been on a heater, 17-7. I'll say it one more time just in case you don't believe us, because streaks like this don't come along often, right? So we want to make sure we're going to do our best. I think this is the week we finally
Sharing the wealth.
board. But yeah, if we are going to be sharing our plays and giving you winners, Derek, what do we ask for?
Subscribes, likes, follows, all of the things. Obviously, we're doing this NFL show, but we're not only on a heater in the NFL. One of us swept the board last week with our lock dog and tease on the college football side of things, and then the other one hit the lock. So we're doing pretty well, both college football and the NFL. You're still doing your injury report for us fantasy nerds over on IDP Plus, and especially in a week where we got 6 teams on a bye, you're going to want to make sure you guys are healthy in your starting lineup. So make sure to check that out over at IDP Plus.
Yeah, love it, man. Yeah, absolutely. College has been fun. We've been hitting dogs. We've been hitting locks. We got a very juicy plus 220 that we both love this week. Go ahead and check that out. But yeah, we appreciate it, man. You guys have been awesome this year. We started this channel. It's the first year with it. And the goal was 1,000 subscribers. I think we're like 150 away. So if you've enjoyed the winners we've been getting out, or just enjoyed a couple idiots talking ball, we really appreciate we really appreciate you. And yeah, it's almost the season of giving, man. A subscribe goes a long way for us. But that's enough begging. You know what they say. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And here at the Degen Docs, we've got your prescription. From Professor Locks and Doc here on the DFSG Plus channel, we are out of here.